I think that is an even better mix. Yeah. Okay. Esther. Yeah, thank you, Esther. Thanks a lot for your audio coordination. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, guys.
Hi. Hello.
Thank you for the organizing all this program for us.
Yeah. Yes. Hi, Karen. Hi.
Hi.
Our new friend. Hello. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Oh, Mish, I miss you. Mish.
Hi.
Nice. Yeah.
Hi.
Hi. Very nice. I saw Alice as well. She joined quite early, right? Alice, hi. Thank you for joining us. Thank you. So Sylvia is also from the Golden Sea Club as well. Yeah. I saw Ernest Chan from the Sea Club as well. Hello. I try to sort out the name list here. Welcome everybody if I can. Virginia，我諗我哋可以等多可能三至兩分鐘，好嘛？係啦，等多3至2分鐘。OK，係。Yannie here yet? Yannie, yeah.
Hi.
Hi, Yannie.
Hi, Yannie. Yannie 喺度啊。
Hello. Hello.
Also, Yan Man Chan is you 係咪啊？
係啊。
啊，呢個係邊位咧？咁你好早入咗嚟㗎啦，你好早入嚟。Well before me, okay. Thank you. Bye. Yeah. 你好多 exposure 喎 ，Yannie 最近好多 news。
Thank you.
Yeah.
I will.
I will. Yeah.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Good, good. How's the gym?
The gym is okay. The gym is back up and running.
Yeah. Oh, that's good, right?
That's
Finally,
good.
yeah. We're all excited about that. Sorry, my voice is a little bit gone because we just had practice.
Okay. Wow.
I've been working you really hard, yeah?
Yeah, they're always working me very hard.
Yeah. Hi, Cecilia. Hi, Cecilia. Thank you for joining us. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. 你哋應該有好多 members join， 多謝。Thank you. Thank you.
都有7個啊，等我睇係咪先？
係啊，好多㗎係。So Will， 你係唯一一個 man 咋 ？man？
哦，係咩？
唔係啊，我見到 Andrew join 咗啊。
你仲有邊個？仲有 Caroline 嘅仔？
我見到有個，我見到 Andrew join 咗。
Hey, Will.
Hi.
So yeah, so I think I'm the only other sort of male guest at this point, but I'm sure there'll be more male guests.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Good.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Andrew.
You're welcome.
Virginia is your call. 你可以 start anytime if you。
我哋好啊，咁不如我哋開始先啦。
OK 啊，好 ，thank you。
好，咁今晚歡迎大家啦，嚟到我哋 Zonta 個 Bounce Talk。咁就麻煩咧，我哋個 talk 嗰段時間咧，你哋就大家 mute 咗自己 ，except for Will and Yannie 啦，of course。咁without further ado 啦，咁我就介紹 Florence 就係個 president of 我哋 Zonta HK2 個 club。咁就可能你可以講少少 about 呢個 talk 啊。
我淨係好想多謝大家 arrange 咗呢個 talk， 因為其實我哋今年係第一年，即係sponsor 哋Will 佢哋嗰個 gym 啦，即係佢哋下個 team， 咁所以我覺得今年都好好啦，咁又可以 arrange 到一啲 Zoom 嘅 interview 咯，咁亦都好多謝Virginia 啦、Esther 啦同埋 Angela 幫我哋 arrange 呢個 talk， 咁當然要多謝我哋嘅 speaker， 今日Will 同埋 Yannie， 咁最多謝咧亦都係今晚同我哋一齊 participate 嘅participant 嘅，多謝大家 ，thank you，over to you。 Virginia，thank you。
咁等大家知道有少少個 rundown 咯。咁嚟緊我哋就會有Yannie 同埋阿 Will，咁就佢哋都每人會有佢哋 individual 嘅 sharing，就可能會每人講10至15分鐘咯。咁跟住咧就去到尾嗰時咧，我哋就大概會有10至20分鐘係 for Q&A 嘅。咁如果你怕醜唔想出聲嘅話咧，你都可以喺個 chat box 度 type 個 question，我可以代你問。咁 at the same time，其實我哋個 call 之前咧都已經收咗有啲 questions 嘅。咁所以咧，我哋就兩個 sharing 之後咧，我就會同阿 Yannie 傾偈先，跟住就 follow by Will， 咁跟住阿 Florence 就做啲 closing remarks 嘅。咁 without further ado 啦，咁我哋就不如邀請 Yannie， 咁佢咧就係香港 local school 第一個receive 到 NCAA 嘅 scholarship。Congratulations Yannie， 咁不如你分享少少你嘅 achievement 啦。
好 ，thank you。hello 大家好，我係 Yannie 啦。咁首先好多謝 Zonta Club 可以俾呢個機會我喺呢度，即係邀請我做一個 guest speaker，然後俾個機會我可以同大家分享一個少少嘅經歷啦。咁多謝咁多位嚟參與啦，係啊。咁我會首先講下點樣，即係我喺籃球方面點樣由中意籃球變成係想去追呢個夢想去到美國打波啦。咁一開始中意打波咧，其實就因為好中意一班人，成 team 人一齊去到為一個目標去到努力，一齊去到成 team 人一齊去為咗可能冠軍啊，可能係一啲 achievement 喺一齊努力啦。咁亦都好中意呢個運動，就因為佢係好有挑戰性啊。咁我好享受籃球帶俾我一個好簡單嘅快樂。咁其實由本身可能只係一個 hobby 去到我想去打 NCAA， 其實我覺得最好彩係因為我遇到好多人嘅幫助啦。咁當然就係阿 Will 佢哋啦，咁佢亦都係啟發到我去想挑戰呢個 NCAA， 因為就係佢問咗我想唔想去美國打波，去體驗下呢一個即係高水平嘅籃球咁樣。咁亦都加埋一啲外出比賽嘅經驗咧，咁知道自己其實喺世界嚟講都係比較渺小啦，咁所以都好想 keep 住去到進步。咁當然都唔少得就係即係除咗阿 Will 佢哋即係 Strive 嘅即係 Angel 啊 Will 啊 Strive 佢哋嘅支持啦，咁亦都係可能我一啲教過我嘅教練啊，然後同埋屋企人嘅支持啊，都令到我會揀咗去行 NCAA 呢條路嘅。咁我覺得咁我覺得可以去到即係有咁難得嘅機會去到美國去到打波啦，去追夢啦。其實自己就好想喺college 啦，或者喺美國嗰邊咧，去到見識下世界其他地方嘅文化或者生活方式啦。咁特別喺籃球上面，因為自己真係好中意打波啦，咁都好想了解下點解即係美國作為全世界其中一個最勁嘅地方咧，係可以佢個 system 啊，佢個可能訓練方法啊，或者成個嘅 development 可以做得咁好啦。咁所以我自己喺嗰邊揀讀 sports management 啦，又即係而家目前嘅選擇。咁其實都係好想見識下嗰邊嘅成個體育嘅系統啦，體育嘅管理，然後希望有機會將來可能帶到少少翻嚟俾香港嘅，可能係籃球啦，可能係運動界咁樣。咁除咗籃球方面係會希望可以向身邊可能教練啊、同學啊等等嗰啲學習之外咧，我覺得可能係一啲相處上面咧，我都係希望自己去到美國嗰邊係會有一個進步啦、提升啦，因為其實自己本身喺香港咧都係好似好多人去保護我啦，好多人去support 我啦。咁其實自己一個去到美國嗰邊生活咧，都真係即係第一次咁樣自己會去要照顧自己啦，算係。咁所以都希望趁呢個機會，其實可能係一啲即係自己變得更加 independent 啦，然後去到繼續同唔同嘅人去到相處啦，去學識唔同嘅地方嘅文化等等嘅，係。咁就下一 part 我就想講下喺可能成個過程入邊，由我第2年前一開始，阿 Will 問我想唔想去美國打波，去到而家終於有一個好寶貴嘅經驗，對方教練好好俾咗一個機會我咧。 其實中間都經歷咗好多嘅。咁就想同大家簡單咁講下喺中間我學到啲乜嘢。咁希望都可以鼓勵到你哋係勇於去到追自己想做嘅嘢啦，勇於去到做自己中意嘅嘢。係啦，咁首先第一個最重要嘅咧就一定係永遠都唔好驚去到嘗試啦，特別係當你好清晰自己嘅目標啦，或者係當你好清晰自己想要嘅嘢係咩嘅時候，因為當你唔肯去踏出第一步，唔肯去嘗試嘅時候，其實你永遠都唔會知道你嘅 potential 可以去到邊啦，你究竟可以 reach 到啲乜嘢嘅，可能係一個小小嘅成就啦，可能係對你嚟講意義好重大嘅一啲嘢。咁所以其實永遠都唔好令自己後悔，自己冇做到一啲對自己嚟講好中意或者好有意義嘅嘢啦。係咁，呢個就係第一個算係我學到好大感觸嘅其中一樣嘢啦。咁第二咧就係喺成個過程入邊咧，其實我覺得最緊要就係要 keep 住去到準備自己啦，然後相信自己會做到，同埋好耐心咁去等待啦。咁其實因為大家都知道疫情啦，我哋又冇得去真係去美國嗰度睇一轉啦，然後其實中間都不斷有一啲嘅問題出到嚟，咁即係可能係屋企人覺得好危險啦，可能係身邊嘅朋友有時都會對於我嘅呢個決定未必係咁支持啊，因為覺得即係可能都真係美國嗰邊大家都唔熟悉啦，咁再加埋疫情就覺得好似好危險咁樣，係啦，咁但係當時我覺得嗰一下我自己我覺得自己就係 keep 住去到好努力咁去到做好自己要做嘅嘢啦，即係不斷咁去到準備，不斷咁練波啊，做 gym，然後做所有嘅嘢都係個 direction 咧，都係要向住你想達到嘅嘢去做嘅。咁然後之後就最緊要就係俾耐性去到等待你嘅機會嚟到啦。咁所以呢個成個過程入邊，雖然係2年，其實都已經算係好好彩地由一開始 plan 去呢樣嘢去到做到啦。咁但係我覺得中間其實都係要好相信自己有呢個能力啦，同埋你要去真係要即係機會係留俾有準備嘅人，所以你一定要去到不斷咁樣去到做到自己嘅最好咯。咁最後一個我亦都覺得係最重要嘅就係你要 be thankful 啦，即係你要感恩啦，因為可能你身邊好多人會想幫你，但係即係好多人會想幫你啦，但係其實喺幫你嘅同時，你都要去學識去到感恩遇到呢一啲嘅人，因為喺我哋人生入邊，其實幫我哋嘅人係真係可能佢嘅付出亦都係好多。咁例如好似喺我個 case 度咁，我就好多謝阿 Will 啦、Angel 啊，佢哋會去喺可能成個過程入邊，無論係籃球上面啦，或者係其他方面都幫咗我好多啦。咁亦都好多謝即係 Zonta 佢哋會中間有 sponsor Go Team，然後等我哋可以獲得更加多嘅有系統嘅 training 啦，亦都係可以令到我哋去 achieve 到我哋嘅夢想咁樣。咁所以即係呢3個 lesson 就係我覺得都係好深刻嘅一個即係好深刻嘅體會啦。咁即係除咗我學到嘅嘢之外咧，咁中間其實個過程入邊就一定係有一啲可能係好 tough 嘅時候啦，可能係一啲失敗啊等等咁樣嘅。咁其實可能以前嘅我都會好驚面對呢啲失敗，因為一有少少嘅錯啊或者失敗就會覺得自己係做唔到啦。咁但係其實經過呢2年嘅算係磨練啦，我會話特別係好多人未必睇好我會做得到啦，亦都好多人有一啲聲音係話點解我要去打波啊？即係點解要去 NCAA 咧？留喺香港咪幾好啊？留喺香港穩穩陣陣，可能即係遲啲幾年都會打到港隊嘅正選啊等等嗰啲。 咁其實我覺得呢一個時候就更加係考驗我哋 mental 嘅一個 toughness 啦。咁就係我哋要學識去到有一個堅定嘅信念，去到 overcome 呢一啲嘅挑戰啦。因為只有你自己係最清楚你自己想要啲乜嘢啦。無論身邊嘅人點講都好，就算其實屋企人可能係中間都會俾一啲意見我，係話不如留翻喺香港啦等等嗰啲。但係當你自己好清楚你需要啲乜嘢，你未來係想行啲咩路嘅時候，因為你嘅未來只係由你去決定，咁先至係即係一個對你嚟講最好嘅決定。咁所以當時嘅我咧，雖然聽到好多嘅聲音啦，或者聽到好多可能話我做唔到啊等等嗰啲，咁但係即係我覺得我 keep 住都係相信我自己有呢個機會啦，然後不斷咁去努力嘅時候，咁就終於好彩咁俾我等到呢一個機會啦。咁所以都想同大家即係鼓勵下大家，就係當你面對可能喺你想做嘅嘢嘅時候，一定係會有一啲位係會令你覺得有啲沮喪啦，可能係經歷一啲失敗啦，可能係俾人 reject 咗啦。其實呢一啲情況係好普遍嘅，每一個人都一定會經歷一啲低潮啦，或者係一啲失敗啊等等。咁但係只要你肯堅持落嚟，只要你將呢一啲失敗當成係其中一個你成長嘅養分咧，其實咁樣先至係會 lead 到你去真正成功嘅一個路咁樣。係咁最後如果即係我會用3個字去形容我成個即係過程，或者成個上年或者呢1-2年發生嘅嘢啦。咁第一就係好感恩啦，係啱啱都有提過，係身邊好多人支持我啦，亦都好多人去幫助我啦。咁有屋企人啦，有 Strive 嘅 family 啦，有即係可能係教練啊、朋友啊，同埋都有即係 Zonta 你哋支持我啦，所以好多謝你哋每一位去，可能係一個好簡單嘅説話，一個好簡單嘅動作，其實都已經俾到一個好大嘅動力去到繼續去追我嘅夢啦。咁第2個字我會想形容嘅就係成長。我覺得喺呢2年嘅過程入邊，自己其實喺不斷去到面對唔同嘅問題嘅時候，其實都會有一啲學習嘅機會去俾我自己成長到。咁可能係講緊點樣去到去同人溝通啦，點樣去到面對一啲外界嘅質疑啦，可能係點樣喺球場上面去到更加進步啦。我覺得呢一啲都係令到我成個人嘅成長係俾到我好大嘅一個幫助啦。咁第3個字我會用咧就係會話係好特別嘅1年啦，因為其實佢呢2年大家知道有疫情啦，亦都好多其實我哋籃球嘅比賽全部都停晒啦。咁但係呢1年對我嚟講，佢冇停到，不特止重要係對我嚟講係一個 life changing 嘅1年，因為入邊咧都提出咗一啲嘅時間。因為佢係即係令到我由可能冇乜方向咧，對自己即係對自己嘅未來冇乜方向啦，去到我學識去到有一個好明確嘅目標，然後去不斷咁向呢個目標努力，然後做到我自己想做嘅嘢。咁所以喺度咧就好想鼓勵大家啦，唔好覺得自己乜都做唔到，唔好覺得自己係可能永遠都係只係會可以跟住人哋嘅安排去到做。有時候其實只要你去堅持你想做嘅嘢，冇人可以阻止到你去做一啲你中意嘅。只要你肯去努力嘗試啦，然後你肯去耐心咁去到等待一個機會，準備好去即係為呢個機會去做好準備嘅話，我相信終有一日你都可以係做到自己中意嘅嘢，然後係可以即係好開心咁樣去到接受呢個算係少少嘅成功啦，我覺得係。咁所以 好多謝大家今日嚟到聽我少少嘅 sharing 啦，係希望我嘅經歷都可以幫助到大家。
好多謝你啊 Yannie， 好叻女啊！其實真係因為你都講得啱嘅，尤其是即係疫情有咁多 challenges， 咁難得好多時啲美國啲 coach 係要真人見到，佢真人都未見過你已經俾到呢個 scholarship 你，所以你真係好叻。咁亦都我哋戥你好開心啦。
Thank you。
咁下一個環節咧，我哋就會轉做英文啦。雖然阿 Will 係識講流利嘅廣東話嘅，咁就係講翻阿 Will 個 coach， 阿 Will 就係 Yannie 個 coach 啦。咁佢咧亦都喺美國嗰時打過 NCAA， 咁翻到嚟香港咧，佢而家就開咗 Strive Fitness 啦。咁就係會做 strength and conditioning 嘅 training 啦，as well as 佢係真係想帶到 basketball to 亞洲啦，唔係淨係香港啦，and groom 香港嘅 talent into the international stage. Okay, Will, so let's turn the mic over to you. And can you please share maybe some of your experiences with training Yannie throughout the years and how you've seen the Hong Kong basketball scene evolve?
I was fortunate enough to meet Yannie 2 and a half years ago, 2 years ago, when my sights started to turn on to from just fitness into sports in general. And so I was very fortunate enough to work with a great school, Keep Young, which was the school Yannie was attending at the time. And after meeting some of the students, what I decided to do was something inside told me that I should start a scholarship program for girls. So basically, Yannie was one of the 4 girls, which I agreed to train 3 times a week. And that was at the time for fitness. And then very quickly, when I was able to see Yannie shoot the ball, I was just like, oh, and it was like something that I'm rarely able to see in Hong Kong, because Yannie is very athletic for the Hong Kong scene here, but it's not quite the same as in the US. And what separates Yannie from other girls is her athleticism, as well as her stature, as well as her ability to play a diverse amount of positions. And so when I saw that, I took a mental note, because it doesn't mean that you're able to play overseas. And then I wanted to get to know Yannie better. So basically, after a while, I got to know Yannie, and then the part to me that stood out the most and that was different was her clear passion for the game. And that's something that really stuck with me, because that's not something that I see every single day. Then the second part that stuck with me was her laser focus and her ability to zero in on a task that I asked her to do, and do it to the best of her ability, and still want to do more. So when I saw that, I was like, okay, maybe we can turn this relationship simply from strength and conditioning into a holistic strength and conditioning and basketball. And once I got to see Yannie more and more and more, the idea started to enter my mind to possibly use my connections overseas and be able to help Yannie get into school. And I thought that would be a very, very important starting point for Hong Kong, because I think that sports is often seen as something that's simply leisure, recreational, and something that's done in your spare time. When in fact, if you look overseas, it's a good vehicle to be able to improve your education, to be able to support your family, and to be able to better yourself as a person through the values that sports gives you. So basically, after I met Yannie, I felt a calling to do much more. And I felt that I have to make many Yannies. I have to take it to the next step, and to show Hong Kong people that, in fact, we are able to perform on the international stage with some of the best athletes in the world, with the proper upbringing, with the proper training, with the proper mindset, and with the proper principles. So I've dedicated hours upon hours every single week to helping the goal team, which I must thank Zonta for their sponsorship, because without the sponsorship, it would be very, very hard to run it, in order so that more and more women are able to use their talents in sports to give them scholarships, just like Yannie's gotten, to be able to bring hope to the future generations of Hong Kong women, and then to be able to uplift Hong Kong sports, which then hopefully uplifts Hong Kong as a society.
Great. Thanks, Will. That was very insightful. So, okay, so just a reminder to everyone, we're going to move into the Q&A session. If you have any questions, please feel free to type into the chat box. But in the meantime, I'm just going to start off by asking Yannie. Maybe Yannie 啊，其實咧，你頭先都有講過啦，你呢2年嘅經歷其實都令到你成長咗好多啦，學到好多嘢。咁你會唔會可以講一講下，其實籃球點樣可以令到你 handle 到唔關體育運動，係你 personal life 點樣可以令到你都可以 overcome 到啲 challenge 啊？
我覺得籃球因為始終係即係運動，其實除咗運動本身嘅可能係一啲 health benefit 啦，其實我覺得佢另外帶到俾我嘅都係可能係自律啦，即係你要去作為一個運動員，你作息啊，你點樣控制你嘅 time management 啊，其實嗰啲都係好重要，因為都會好影響你嘅運動表現啦。咁另外就係其實係對自己個要求啦，即係可能特別喺訓練上面，你可以選擇去 hea 啦，你可以選擇好認真咁去對待每一刻，然後俾你100% 嘅力量去，即係能力去做你所有嘅嘢。咁所以我覺得最緊要就係即係喺籃球度教識我一樣好重要嘅就係，當我可能喺練習上面，其實我係去即係俾100% 嘅時候，我先會有機會喺個比賽上面表現，其實會表現得好啦。咁呢個都係 apply 到落去我日常生活入邊，就係可能每一樣嘢，如果我係好 hea 咁去對待嘅時候，咁其實出嚟嘅 result 一定唔會係好。咁但係當我去認真去對待嘅時候，咁其實當然其實可能有時都會未必好如意啊，即係比賽都有 ups and downs，一定會有表現得唔好嘅時候。咁但係你會知道，即係你會對得住自己，因為你已經係對自己有一個好高嘅要求，去到做到一個即係你最好嘅一個即係你做到你嘅最好咯，係。
咁亦都啦，即係我諗可能都係我哋啲 audience 都會想知道啦。其實做一個運動員係真係學你話齋要嘥好多時間、好多壓力嚟做呢樣嘢。咁你點樣 balance 讀書同埋做運動咧？因為始終我都知道你，尤其是你個 scholarship 係 academic scholarship，咁所以呢一樣嘢都係你嚟緊會點樣之前 prepare 咗，同埋嚟緊會點樣 prepare balance 呢兩樣嘢咧？
我覺得喺可能中學嘅時候，自己都玩好多樣嘢，我係玩7樣嘅運動，即係幫學校手。咁其實嗰段時間真係會辛苦嘅，即係特別係你可能練完一課再去練第二課，咁翻到屋企有機會係已經12點幾啊嗰啲時候，你第2日又要7點翻學，咁當然你又即係唔會可以，因為你係 student athlete，你唔會可以。即係你要做翻盡翻一個 student 嘅責任，就係你你識準時啊，你上堂呢啲其實你一定係好 basic 嘅嘢要做。咁我覺得自己喺 time management 上面就係你要學識去到取捨，即係可能有時朋友約你出街成嗰啲，咁你自己知道有啲嘢未做好啊，或者你自己係知道啲時間好緊迫嘅時候，你可能就要放棄呢一個 leisure 嘅時間，然後去到做好咗你應該要做嘅本分先。咁所以其實可能嗰段時間好多朋友會成日想約你去街啊，即係成日都話點解你成日冇時間㗎咁樣嗰啲。咁呢個都係一啲取捨上面你要去放棄一啲相對嚟講冇咁重要，但係其實可能嗰樣嘢係你好 enjoy 去做。咁但係就係因為你學生運動員嘅身份，你要去 balance 嘅時候，你就一定要放棄某一啲嘢啦。咁另外其實可能即係嚟緊去到美國，我都有即係可能了解過嘅嗰邊嘅可能讀書同埋打波嘅 balance。咁知道其實嗰邊成個 system 應該相對香港係更加完善啦，我話，因為嗰邊其實可能嗰邊你上堂嘅時間同練波嘅時間一定又唔會撞啦。然後即係可能香港，因為我哋打甲組啊或者大學隊咧，其實好多都係練啲夜晚嘅時間，因為等你落咗堂啊，等你啲人放咗工，我哋先會練啦。咁呢個其實對運動員嚟講都有一定影響，因為 suppose 應該係要早啲休息啊成咁。咁但係我相信嗰邊其實就會呢樣嘢就會好唔同，因為佢哋嗰邊所有嘢其實都會 plan 得比較好，咁所以去到嗰邊我都會需要可能一段時間去適應啦。咁但係亦都係我覺得自己要有一個好嘅時間管理，然後 去到知道邊啲時候應該做啲乜嘢係好重要咯，我覺得。
咁如果對你有啲 advice 啦，因為有啲小 tips for 可能嚟緊好似都係啱啱開始入初中嘅，咁佢哋都好似想追夢咁樣，你會叫佢哋有啲乜嘢要留意咧？
我覺得譬如講緊話你要去追夢嘅時候，首先你要好清楚你嗰個夢想個內容，或者即係你好清楚個目標係要定得唔可以過大啦，亦都唔可以即係可能太簡單嘅，或者太難咁樣。你要知道其實呢件事係 achievable 嘅，咁你亦都要去不斷咁從中係不斷咁努力啦。可能你做嘅所有嘢都係要 relate 去嗰個夢想度。例如如果可能我打波嘅時候，當我知道我自己好想去 NCA 嘅時候，基本上成個即係成日都係留喺個 gym 度啊，因為我都好即係好想 keep 住自己不斷咁去到累積多啲經驗，然後會有進步咁樣啦。咁亦都可能睇好多即係女仔比賽嘅片啊、籃球片啊，咁亦都睇一啲嘅 podcast 係關於籃球啊咁樣。咁所以其實你做嘅所有嘢都係要去 relate 翻去你個想達到嘅嗰個夢想度啦。咁最後一個就係啱啱都有提到，就係你要俾耐性去到等呢一個機會嚟到，因為亦都要把握住呢個機會啊。因為機會唔係成日都會即係突然間就會俾好多個你，其實可能係只係咁啱有一個機會，有一個人幫你，有一個好寶貴嘅機會，咁就你 miss 咗就有機會冇噶啦。咁所以咧就要 keep 住準備好自己，然後你要相信自己係做到啦，好耐心咁等候咯。
多謝你啊 Yannie。好，咁 Will, we're just going to switch over to you to ask you a few questions. I think maybe just for those of us who are not familiar with basketball, do you think you could just talk a little bit about the significance of Yannie's achievement? Because being the first local Hong Kong school female to get into a scholarship for NCAA is really a remarkable achievement. Can you just explain it in the greater context for those of us who are not familiar?
Yeah. I feel that basketball in Hong Kong is a very popular sport, and there's actually a lot of talent in the city. And a lot of the talent I feel like lies with the girls in the city. I think they there could be more resources, let's put it that way. There could be more resources and time put into them because they're that good. And the reason I feel like it's significant for the city is because Yannie is a trailblazer, and Yannie represents hope. Again, I mentioned that before. I feel like she represents what is possible for the next generation. And I already know because the goal team all looks up to her and wants to train with her. And when she trains with them, they're all happy. And more importantly, Yannie represents a misconception that sports is simply hang chow. I don't know why I can't find the English word for that.
Leisure.
Yeah, it's simply leisure. It's simply leisure. So, which I mean, it can be used for that, but at the same time, it represents so much more. It can represent a greater education. It can represent doors opening for you that were not initially open. And it can represent for a lot of girls in Hong Kong the ability to use basketball to better your life and take care of your family. So I feel like Yannie is hopefully the first of many, but Yannie is extremely important because of who she is and what she represents.
And I think if we could put it into the greater context as well, being a sports and fitness coach, I mean, I think we all know that it's been a difficult year with the pandemic, with, you know, life really having changed. And a common misconception about sports is about physical fitness. Mm-hmm. But given today, mental fitness is also incredibly important. Can you share some of your tips or thinking in terms of, as a coach, how sports could help in that aspect to help us be more resilient?
Yeah, I think resilience is definitely important. Resilience, you know, you may not want to get up and work out that day, but you know you have some goals. You might want to be running a marathon. You might want to be playing the NCAA. You might want to be losing 10 pounds, depending on what your goal is. But you have to have that resilience in order to achieve that goal. But then you have to ask yourself, is your goal big enough? Is your goal important enough? And why is that your goal? And so for me, knowing Yannie, it really comes down to it comes down to resilience, but it comes down to love, and that your reason is big enough that it's worth fighting for. So in Yannie's case, when people are telling you it's impossible to do it, when people are telling you that, oh, don't waste your time playing basketball, it's just a leisure, it's not going to lead to anything. When people are telling you that, who do you think you are? You're going to be the first a local schoolgirl to go into the NCAA. That's just not worth thinking about. All that stuff coming from different people, whether they're distant people or whether they're people close to you, you need that resilience. But then I'm going to switch gears and talk about how sports can help us as a community. And I talk to my girls about this every single day in terms of camaraderie, in terms of communication, in terms of bonding, in terms of all those things. So resilience is one part, right? That's individual, definitely extremely important. But what I've realized training these girls is that just as importantly, it is a bond, and it is in our case, it's a sisterhood for them. And it's a sense that, when you are not up, we've got you. When, in basketball terms, when someone sets a screen on you, so that means that they're trying to find an advantage, and you don't see the screen, we're going to shout and let you know that you might be in trouble. And so all those things, some of the girls are too young to understand. Some of the girls take it very seriously. But to me, it's a very holistic part. It's an individual journey, but more important to me, it's a collective journey that bonds people, which is why it's so important.
Thank you. So turning the conversation into the gold team, what qualities do you look for then when you're scouting for girls?
Yeah, this is going to change like probably every 6 months. But you definitely want to look for people who, number one, not for me, is who love the sport. Okay, because it doesn't matter how well built you are for the sport and how skillful you are if you're not willing to put in the time. And there we go again, talking about resilience, right? So it's your passion. It's your passion for the sport. And so for me, that's number one, because, I'm trying to train a bunch of elite girls, but at the end of the day, if I'm not adding any fun and any happiness to their life, well, I'm not really, to me, success should be a byproduct, but I should be focusing on bettering the individual, right? So that's the first thing. The second thing is their ability to understand the game, and that the game is not an individual game that we're playing. It's a team sport, and that can get tricky for young people at times because of it's not readily taught. It's not really taught, and sometimes some of the things that you need to learn in sports are not common sense. So sometimes I let them figure it out themselves. Sometimes I need to come in and interject and do some explanation on what needs to be done. So their ability to digest the game and their ability to siufa that information and execute. So then the next one is obviously it has to be their skill and their physical structure. So one of the things that I look for is how would they be, and I have a unique ability to do this because I've played both in the United States and in Hong Kong, is how would that person do overseas? So for instance, there might be someone who does very, very well in Hong Kong, and they are a big person. They're a center, or they play a big position. And that person could be 5'9", okay? And they're the best in Hong Kong. The problem is that when you go overseas, this 5'9" player is then going to be up against a 6'5" girl. That is so I would need to have to take those things into consideration. So obviously when I saw Yannie, I learned that she also played a big position, but then what separates her is her ability to play many different positions, the interior, which we call the post in basketball, as well as the perimeter. So that's the thing. So again, going back, I look for passion, and I look for drive. I look for focus. Those are the first things I look for. Then I look for the ability to digest the game and understand the game. I should add to the first one, I look for a good teammate, because I look for good people. Obviously, that goes without saying, but I look for someone who uplifts the team, okay, and doesn't drain energy out of the team. And if something gets hard, their energy goes up, and they're holding people accountable. They're holding their teammates accountable. They're holding even their coaches accountable. And they're making mistakes, but then we're reframing that word mistakes, and you're not making a mistake. You're simply learning. You're simply in the learning process. And I think that's something that needs to be reframed a little bit, so that fear to make a mistake is not, it's celebrated in a way. Then we look for the ability to understand the game. Then we obviously look for skills and physical structure.
Great, thanks, Will. So we have about 5 more minutes. So I'm going to ask both Will and Yannie the same question. This will be our last question. But let's just start with Will. How do you overcome doubts when other people tell you can't do it? I mean, you've all opened a gym. It's not easy in Hong Kong. It's not a traditional path for Hong Kongers. So how do you overcome your doubts, and where do you get your confidence from?
You overcome your doubts because everyone has doubts. You overcome your doubts by having a big enough why. And for me, you have overcome your doubts for having a big enough why and a big enough reason. And it's hard not to get emotional about this, but in the beginning, I had a vision, and I wanted to bring what I experienced in the States and give it to Hong Kong people, right? And so I wanted people in Hong Kong to experience what I experienced. Now it's a lot more than just me. Now it's about, like, how can we run a successful business, but then at the same time make sure that these girls who I feel deserve the same opportunity as me get that opportunity, and they're able to use basketball as a vehicle to better their own lives and the lives of the family. So that's how I overcome doubts.
Thank you, Yannie， 到你啦。頭先你都有講啦，其實你呢個經歷都有好多人同你講話你做唔到嘅，你點解要嘗試啊？咁多人同你講嗰時，你係靠啲乜嘢嘢係令到你會 overcome 到啲人同你講你自己嘅 self confidence 啦，同埋你會唔會即係你係靠啲乜嘢係可以捱到啲人同你講話你做唔到咧？
其實當然嗰一下可能聽到有啲人話你做唔到啊，其實當下一定係會有少少 negative 嘅 feeling， 即係呢個我覺得好正常。你唔會即係你如果你話你好開心咁面對呢啲，其實又有啲好似你會自己自己嘅感覺啦，係啦。咁當下一定係有啲唔開心，特別其實唔止係唔識嘅人，可能識嘅人都會咁樣同你講啦。咁但係我覺得最重要係，因為我自己其實都係一個幾清晰嘅目標，自己想去邊，即係想去打 NCAA 啦。咁然後亦都係知道即係可能 Strive 嘅所有人都支持緊我啦，係啊。咁即係我覺得係當你遇到一班同你好志同道合嘅人啦，然後當你遇到一班即係好想幫你去完成你夢想嘅人，然後你會覺得其他人講嘅未必真係咁影響到我嘅即係影響到我嘅決定，因為我自己先係最清楚我自己想要啲咩嘅嗰個人，即係我未來其實係我自己去決定。如果我係淨係聽人哋嘅意見，然後去決定我行咩路嘅話，咁其實我好似扯線公仔咁去俾人控制嘅時候，我唔會開心咯。即係如果你要令其他人都開心，然後令自己唔開心，呢個即係會係一個好大嘅，即係你會覺得好後悔咯。如果你做呢樣嘢，咁所以我覺得當我自己面對呢一啲可能係一啲 negative 嘅睇法嘅時候，我會俾自己有可能最多一日嘅時間係會諗住呢一啲嘢嘅。咁但係當你知道身邊其實即係你自己好想做呢樣嘢，然後身邊有一啲啱嘅人去支持緊你嘅時候，其實即係呢一啲真係唔係好重要咯。即係呢個都係我點樣去 overcome 係。
好，多謝你啊 Yannie 同埋 Will。Will, we have one question in the chat box that wants to know, do you train teenage boys?
Yeah, Strive definitely trains teenage boys. Too much of my time is with the girls now. I dedicate as much time as I can. But yes, the company definitely trains teenage boys. Thank you for asking.
Great，咁今日我都想多謝大家啦，嚟聽我哋嘅分享，咁都想多謝我哋 fellow 嘅 Zontians 啦 ，sister Zontians from other Zonta clubs in Hong Kong 啦，有其他 members 同 alumni of Z Clubs 同埋 Golden C Club 啦 ，potential member of Zonta，咁 of course Will 同 Yannie 多謝你哋嘅分享啦。咁 one last request 就係大家會唔會可以 turn on 個 camera， 因為咧我想影一幅 group photo 嘅 on screen 嘅 group photo， 做個 screen cap。
會唔會我 count on 3 and then 大家笑一笑。
OK， 好，唔該晒，
好大家開晒鏡係嘛？移一移唔介意我移一移啲，因為我要做少少移一移啲位先。開咗鏡，
每一次都係你，多謝。
開咗鏡頭嗰啲我移埋一齊，咁樣靚啲影完。唔好意思嚇，大家我哋俾少少時間我移一移先。
多謝，thank you。
好 ，one more second。OK， 好，大家笑，3、2、1 ，Cheers。OK， 睇下係咪成功先。好成功。OK， 唔該晒。
Thank you， 好多謝。咁好多謝阿 Virginia 幫我哋做 moderator， 同阿 Yannie 同埋Will 嘅 sharing。其實咧，阿 Yannie 我哋 bounce talk 其實做咗幾次，我自己參與咗幾次。阿 Yannie 應該係最後生嘅一個sharer 嚟，應該係我哋嘅 speaker。我覺得但係佢嘅 maturity 比我想象中，我都諗緊我喺佢嘅年紀嘅時候，我其實做緊啲咩？係啦，咁佢 sharing 好好啦，都好多謝。咁有 Will 咁 passion 咧，我哋之前都去過佢嗰個gym 嗰度玩過一次，我哋啲即係members 嘅一啲嘅 activity 啦。咁其實佢哋嗰個 environment 咧係俾到我哋好多嘅 energy 咧。雖然我哋咧其實都好攰啊，我哋有啲唔係真係成日運動噶嘛。咁但係咧，其實佢俾到個氣氛，我哋個 energy 係好好咧，令我哋真係可以繼續 move ahead。雖然我哋好攰，咁但係都會因為成個 team 做咧而做咯。咁所以我覺得呢啲都係即係我哋嘅 bounce talk 主要，我好希望 promote 就係即係大家要 work together 係 become more resilient 嘅。咁好多謝大家先。咁我 Virginia 有冇其他嘢補充？冇，我哋就 close meeting。
多謝大家
，Thank you， 拜拜。
Thank you， 拜拜。
多謝晒 ，Thank
you， 知道 ，Thank you，
Keep it up， 知道。
多謝晒 Yannie，Thank you so much，
Thank you，
拜拜。
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 Take care，拜拜。